Hi folks, and welcome back to another fly tying tutorial. What you see in the vise you would most likely see in Davy McPhail or Melvin Wood's vise, not mine. It's not really my bag, but I've been asked by a good pal if I would tie this fly. It's called the Geordie Bruce. It's a fly named for a recently passed member of the Portree Angling Association, so I do hope I can do it justice. And without further ado, let's get into it. The hook in the vise then is a Hanak H25 XH hook. It's at size 10, and as you can see, it's on a heavy wire and it's finished in bronze. The thread I'm going to be using is from Semperfli. It's the nano silk at 50 denier or 12/0, and as you can see, it's black. I'm going to use a touch of super glue just to adhere the thread to the shank of the hook. Now, these traditional sort of flies, they're great fun to tie, and they can be very, very effective. Certainly in Scotland and on the Isle of Skye and the hill lochs, I dare say this will be a super effective fly. Now I'm going to bring my thread all the way back to just in front of the barb, and I'm going to take that away. So I've got a layer of thread down onto the shank of the hook. Next thing I'm going to do is take my thread and just get plenty of wax on it. When you're dealing with these natural materials, it just makes sense to have some wax on your thread. Now, I've brought my thread back in open turns, and the first thing I'm going to do is lay down the first tag, which is Glo-Brite number 7. As you can see, it's orange. I've already taken off about 12 inches, and what I'm going to do is fold it so the ends meet once, twice and 3 times. Now, the reason I'm counting is because the green part of this has got to be the same width. Just catch that in. Once you've got it in, make sure you've pulled it all together and you've got it on the top of the shank of the hook. That's really important. You don't want it sliding round and coming down at the side. So catch that in, come all the way back up, grab your Glo-Brite number 12, which you can see is green, and again, same thing with this. I'm going to grab the ends once, twice, thrice, and I'm going to catch that in again. I was quite surprised that I was asked to do this, actually, because, as I say, traditional wets isn't really my bag. I don't fish a lot of these. I really enjoy tying them, but it wouldn't be what I'd call as my forte. But I've caught that in exactly the same as with the orange. Kept it on the top of the shank of the hook. Just check your side. Just going to ease that over slightly, and what I want to do is cut them the same length, and the length's about 1.5 centimetres. And they're exactly the same length now. So next then, we're going to add a little tail in. Now, the recipe that I was sent required hot orange. So it's golden pheasant, but it's been dyed hot orange. I haven't got that. I've got Sunburst, which is going to have to do the job today on this. I'm sure Geordie will forgive me. And what I want to do is have it twice the length of the tag. So I'm going to catch that. It's misbehaving. Approximately twice the length of the tag. So if I catch it in again on the top of the shank, get a couple of turns in, I just want to see how it's sitting. Just about right. I'm going to just take away the excess Again, I'm just going to use my thumb and forefinger, pull it back to keep that on top of the shank. Don't want it going wandering round the side of the hook. So that's looking not too bad. Okay, the next part then is to tie in the various ribs, and what I'm going to tie in first is some Semperfli mirror flash. This is at 0.8 millimeters. I've got a little bit off here already, and I'll catch that in onto the body and take the opportunity just to tidy up the end slightly, and I'll lay that down at the side. Now I also need to tie in a wire rib. I've got some black 0.1 from Semperfli again, and I have got a bit already off the reel, which I'm going to catch in just where I parked my thread. I'm not overly worried about it being too tidy, because for the body of this fly I'm going to use some seal's fur. I have got a black strand on my side. Don't know where it's come from. It's probably a bit of random seal's fur. So I'm not worried too much about it. Now with seal's fur, I'm using this one here from Cook's Hill Fly Tying. It's actually black claret, but I like to get plenty of wax onto my thread before putting the seal's fur on. I just think it helps with the dubbing. It's quite a coarse material, and it can be difficult to work with, but there is upsides to it. For dry flies, I don't think it can be beaten, to be perfectly honest. You get a lot of floatability, and obviously that natural scruffy look which fly fishermen like. Nothing like a scruffy fly. So I'm just going to bring that up the body, all the way up. I need just a little more. With seal's fur I always like to add rather than have to strip away, so a little bit more just to get that finished off. Then I'm going to use my thumb and forefinger to pull all that material back, and then I can part my thread there. Okay, next I'm going to bring my mirror tinsel up the body. I want 3 turns. Just make sure it's wrapped firmly, and then as it comes off the end it'll meet my thread. I'll get a couple of turns just to hold that into place. Once I've got it, I can secure that with a couple of turns in front and simply remove the waste. Now that's looking not too bad at the minute, I think. I'm going to add in the palmering, and what I'm using for the palmering is this cock cape here. It's a grizzle cape, and it's been dyed black. I've already selected a feather, and before I catch it into place, just going to add a little bit of wax. All the way back to there. I'm just going to bend it so that it doesn't snap, but it does break. Makes it easier to wrap it. I'll catch in the tip of the feather with my hackle pliers, and the first turn I'm going to catch on top of itself, and then I can follow my pearl rib all the way back. Don't need to be overly worried if you're covering a little bit. And then as it comes up for the last turn, I can work my black wire through the hackling. Just going to catch that onto the handle on my vise, and then I'm just going to work the rib through the hackle, as well as try and catch in some of the tinsel all the way up to the front, and then I can secure my rib with my thread. Couple of turns, still plenty of wax on there. Pull everything back, tidy it all up, then I can just twist away my wire, then I can come in, try not and cut your tail off while you're doing this bit. It has happened to me. And let's just see what we've got. That's looking not too bad. Fairly pleased with that. So next then, we're going to tie in a wing. And what I'm going to be using is from this, it's elk body here. This one's a bull. I'll just show you here. Now what I've taken is about a centimetre's worth of this. And I've got it in my stacker, ready to go. And as you can see, there's not a whole lot there, but it's enough as to give the illusion of a wing. Now I'm going to show it up to the fly, and what I want the wing to do is pretty much just come to the tip of my golden pheasant. So that looks okay. I'm going to trim away the waist just to the side, and before I do anything else I'm going to get plenty of wax on. This is why I'm so envious of Davey. He has it on his finger and he's always applying wax, which is a great trick. I've tried it, I can't do it, so that's that. So I've brought my cut ends up to my elk here. I'm going to just get a pinching loop in, and then I'm going to work the thread through the cut ends. Now I can see some of my hackling is starting to creep forward. I don't want that to happen, so I'm going to use my thumb and forefinger to bring it all back out the way. And then I can catch that in, tidy it all up at the front. Like so. So that's looking not too shabby. Okay, a little bit more wax onto the thread. And next I'm going to catch in the front hackle. Now the front hackle, it's just a hen cape. As you can see, it's a furnace cape. Greenwell, whatever. I can never get the names right. But I've already picked a feather, and as you can see, I've stripped away all the waste near the bottom. And I'm going to just trim that off. Now I'm going to catch it in at the stem. Once I've got a couple of turns in, I can bring it up to where even my deer hair started, and then I can come all the way to the bottom. Okay, so far so good. This is where it all falls to bits. I'm going to bring my hackle pliers round. I want a nice big hackle at the front here. Just all helps with the movement. These traditional loch style flies they're meant for dapping and pulling through the wave, and the more movement you can generate, the better really. So Geordie's favourite fly was the Cape McLaren, hence this has got quite a lot in common with it. So I'm going to bring that round all the way to the front, catch it in, couple of turns, I can take my hackle pliers off. Now I'm just going to lick my thumb and forefinger in my left hand, sweep everything back out the way, and then I've left myself plenty room. Now, being a tinkerer of patterns, I'd be sorely tempted to finish this fly here, stick a big hot orange head on it, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just looking for my end. It seems to have got, there it is, trapped in there. Just get rid of that. pull it all back. Get a nice proportioned head on the fly. Often the way the fly is finished at the head really sets it off, and it's always good to take your time, get the head right, come with your whip finish tool, 3 or 4 turns, and there we have it, the Geordie cairn. I hope that's done it justice. As I said, it's not a simple fly. Quite a lot of components, quite a lot of different techniques. I'm just going to finish it with a touch of UV resin. And obviously, I'm not a big follower of following instructions really. I don't really tie preconceived recipes. I tend to just make it up as I go along, most of my fly tying. But on this occasion, I've stuck to the recipe as much as I could. In fact, I think the only thing I couldn't manage was a hot orange pheasant tail. Everything else I had in my cupboard, so that's worked out quite well. Just cure that resin off, and then to finish off, I'm going to come in with a toothbrush just to open out the fibres of the hackle, and there's the finished fly. I hope you enjoyed that. Lots of different techniques going on, and it's a fly worthy of a great angler. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.